Good morning, good morning. This is Jacqueline Prentice Simmons, JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. Hope everyone is having a wonderful morning. It's a wonderful day in my neighborhood. Sun shining bright. I love it. Birds are chirping. Today, I want to talk about endorphins, transit, and sex. Okay? But first, I'm going to tell y'all this story about my red robins that's outside that I take care of. Well, it was a red robin, and now it's red robins. Okay? Y'all know about the story of the birds stealing my thyme, and I went out and bought. I didn't went out. I ordered a bird house, a bird bath, which I'm going out there to clean today so they can take a bath and enjoy themselves. And a bird feeder. Okay. I don't know if I told you about the story where I came home from work and the red robin was banging on my door because I was working so much I forgot to go out there and feed the bird. So the red robin had flew around. That's why I tell y'all, someone is always watching, even the birds. The bird had flew around. I guess he figured out what door it was that he needed to be knocking on. And he was running into my door, okay? And I come home and I look up and I'm like, what are you doing? Get from up there. Because he flying all around and he was ramming the door. So I guess he was knocking on the door to try to let me know, yo, come outside and feed me. Maybe she'll open up the other door, you know? But then he figured out about my car. I guess he been watching and he knows my car, okay? So he knows when I'm home and when I'm not. It's crazy how God created his animals. It's like unreal. See, that's the part of life I am with God right now, where I am studying his creation. What made him create things the way they are created. Okay, and some people don't see that far. They just know it's there. Okay, the birds, the dogs, the cats, the lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my! Why did God create all these animals? And you know why? Why did He create the trees? Why did He create the food? Why? That's why where I'm at with God. Okay, and a big part of that is because I've been studying the Book of Genesis. Okay, from the beginning. I wanted to know God's intentions, okay, and why we have so many evil people, why things are the way they are, you know, because I never wanted to, you know, I talked to a man yesterday. I'm going to tell you this story real quick, and then I'm going to go back to the Red Robins. I talked to a man the other day. He was drunk, okay. He was standing in front of the store, and I was about to go in the store, and he said, hello. I said, hello. I said, what's wrong? I saw he was drunk. His face was flushed, you know. And I said, you all right? I said, you know, whatever you going through, you know, because you don't ask people their issues if they don't want to tell it. I said, whatever you going through, you need to pray. You need to talk to God. So his theory was, me and God doesn't see eye to eye right now. Of course, y'all don't see eye to eye because he's the Alpha, the Omega. He's the creation. So, of course, he is the creator. So, of course, you're not going to see eye to eye until you learn. I'm doing my little quotation fingers. You know, people be tickling me yesterday. I was at the store and I was doing my quotation fingers. And the young boy, he threw it back at me like, and I was like, all right, we bringing that back. But anyway, where I'm going with this is, he couldn't see eye to eye with God because he didn't want to see eye to eye with God. It takes you as an individual to learn and study what God wanted from us and why he designed certain things certain ways. Okay? And everybody has their theory. But there's some theories that cannot be changed. Okay? Whether it be godly or scientifically. Now, y'all know I was a science major, so I analyzed everything. Everything is a science to me, okay? And all my buddies at NASA and all in the science schools and the scientists, they know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? where the average person may not, because they don't analyze the reality of life and living. Okay? So that's the key right there. Now, getting back to the Red Robins. So it's spring, and the Red Robin found a mate. So I guess he was, or she was, showing its mate the neighborhood, okay, where they living at now, and who feeds them, or whatever the case may be. So I just got me another car, and my other car is on the other side of the street. They don't know about the other car yet. They know about my old car, which it's been parked since I got the new car, because I've been driving the new car. However, yesterday, they were on my car. They looked up at the window, and he's all up under the car, and he's like, I guess telling his mates, come, this is her car, I don't know what he was telling her, or him, but they was going towards the car. They went under the car. They went around the car. And I'm like, all these cars out here, and they picked mine. That's because he was showing her around. I had to think about it. I had to analyze the situation. Showing him or her around. So, they say Red Robins are good omens. So I felt blessed to have them walking amongst my vehicle. Okay? Reason being is because I've been having a lot of problems with that vehicle. It wasn't my fault, but I had to bite the bullet on it, and it kind of hurt me real bad. But I gave it to God, and God said, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it some way, somehow, and he did, However, I still have this car, and I still don't know what's going to happen, or, if I'm going to be able to get it fixed, or whatever the case may be. I just knew that me and my daughter needed to be safe while driving amongst, the other drivers in the street. So anyway, so they was roaming around the car, and I'm like, all these cars, and they roaming around mine. I said, okay, well, maybe that's a good thing. They're trying to tell me, don't worry about it. Things is going to be okay. So I accepted that and moved on. But the reason why I'm saying this is the bird needed a mate, a companion. Not only did the bird need a companion, the bird has to physically mate, meaning have sex. Okay? Now, why did God design all his animals, including the humans, to be able to mate? Or, as we call it, humans call it, is have sex. Why? There's certain miracles that happen in our bodies. And that's the reason of having sex. Of course, everybody knows one of those miracles are you can make a baby. Okay? From them tiny little cells which is called sperm, that the man pushes out of his body. And them tiny little eggs that's in our body, when they come together, they create another human being, which is actually the biggest miracle ever, I think. Okay? But we also have other miracles that God has implanted within us through sex. Okay? Now, when the body is active, okay, we're going to talk about endorphins first. When the body is active, okay, your brain pushes off endorphins. Okay? You can get endorphins many ways, by exercising, having sex, being happy, In other words, music sometimes makes people happy. Being around other people sometimes makes people happy. There's a lot of things out here. Every individual is different. They have their happy point in life. Laughter makes a person happy. Okay? That's why I'm like me. I always try to make people laugh. But when you laugh, it creates these endorphins in your brain. Okay. Our brain is our number one key for our body. Now, it was always this talk for many years. When are you really dead? When your brain dies or your heart stops? Well, we came to the conclusion that if your brain dies, the heart is going to stop eventually. Because your brain, the receptors in your brain is not going to be able to tell your heart to continue to pump. So that's common sense. But for many years, they was going through this process of which one are you dead? If the brain dies, are you dead? But they came to the conclusion that you can be in a coma. Your brain is asleep, but it's still telling your body to live. But once your brain dead, they have to put you in a machine to keep your heart pumping. So we figured that out as time went on and, life went on. Because this, when I was coming up, they wasn't sure. Okay, so I tell you how time changes things. And this is why they try to keep some of us that's older alive, because we remember the things that didn't exist prior to now and how far we have came in our world of change. Going back to the endorphins. If you don't release the endorphins, your brain eventually slows down. If your brain slows down, what happens? That means all your body function slows down. Okay. Back when I was coming up, we used to have commercials that said, don't drink alcohol, don't smoke marijuana because it slows down the brain. Because it also slows down the body. Okay? But now, we've learned that sometimes slowing down the brain can be a good thing as well, because it keeps our bodies from being stressed. Okay, so it has to be balanced. And this is what we are learning in the new age. In the new millennium, we've learned that everything must have balance. If you don't have balance, you're going to be off. Something is going to be neglected, even with life. Okay, this is why we couldn't understand how these new jobs are coming in with 10-hour work days, which dedicates our lives to 12 hours of 1 hour to work, 1 hour from work, 10 hours of work. And all you have is 12 hours when you're supposed to sleep 8. So that means all you have is 4 hours of social life. Okay? That's not how life is supposed to be. The average child that will grow up in a world of working 10 hours a day will be dead no later than 40. That will be their life expectancy. And that's just the facts. Proven facts based on what you see on a daily basis. On how they're pushing their bodies and not having enough time to satisfy the endorphins. Okay? So their body could continue to work correctly. We didn't design this. God did. We just figured out the best way to live life expectancy. Okay, this is what the scientists do. That's what they get paid to do. Figure out what's the best way for a person to live in order to live longer. Now, when you work in 10 hours with 2 hour of home and going to work and coming home, and you only have 4 hours, right, to go home, because you're supposed to sleep anywhere from 7 to 8 hours a day. It's mandatory that your body rests at least 7 to 8 hours. So now you only got 4 hours. Within the 4 hours, you got to cook dinner, manage your children and your husband, clean up. It's impossible. It's just impossible. Okay? How do you stay happy throughout the day if your endorphins are not being able to be released? One is exercise. If you have a physical job, you can exercise. Music is another way to stay happy. It's like at my job, they're trying to take away us listening to music. Which they don't have to tell me twice, I'm gone. Because you're not going to sit me in a place for 10 hours, okay, with no happiness, and my endorphins in my brain is not able to be released properly. In other words, you're telling me that you're trying to kill me. That's what you're telling a person that is science educated. Okay, where other people may not be science educated, I am. So I know what you're trying to do to me. You're trying to physically kill my mental and kill my body. And then they wonder why. I tell y'all about the AmCare that we have. We have our own little doctor's offices. Why that is open on a regular basis for people to walk in with their illnesses. Why? Because they have no way to stay happy. Okay? You have to keep yourself happy throughout the duration of the day. Not just a half an hour of lunch. Because during our half an hour of lunch, we are running wild, trying to eat, trying to rest. So our minds are racing. It's impossible. So I said to them, I laughed when they said, they said they're taking away the AirPods because somebody got hurt. Okay, there should be stipulations on how you wear your AirPods. Should be only one AirPod for safety reasons. Okay? But you have to have some type of communication and hear other voices. And if y'all watch that movie with Will Smith, I forget the name of the movie, guys, where they had ended the world, and he was the only one. But there was other people, but they were other places. He was the only one alive, and he had his dog. And he went to the stores, okay, and took the mannequins, dressed them up, made people, okay, and went and talked to them every day, even though they didn't respond. Reason being, okay, if he did not have socialization, he would have went crazy. His brain would have been scrambled. So he needed to proceed in every day going there and talking to them, even though they wasn't alive, to keep his mind functioning properly. There's messages in these movies. This is why we need to watch some of them. If you notice in the movie, they sent in a woman and a child. Because he had a woman and a child. It wasn't his woman and child. But once he decided that he was able to trust her, she pretty much became his wife, and that was his child. And he treated them as such. So when you watch these movies, pay attention to the small things. It didn't matter what religion she was. It didn't matter what culture she came from. It was him, her, the child, and the dog. A complete family. He kept his brain sane, so he would not be totally afraid of that person once he found human people. Now, if he didn't keep his brain sane, when she touched down in that area, he would have been crazy. He would have been scared of her, running from her. So it's very important that we keep our brain functioning properly in order for it to manage our bodies. This is why I say, is sex really a sin? If that's the case, all of God's creations that he has out there in the wild are sinning. No, man created it to be a sin. Okay? And I want y'all to watch, if y'all can, download the Chosen app. In the first series, the first episode actually, there was a woman that was being raped. Well, I say she was being raped because she got scared of the men. Because they would come and stand over her. They didn't physically show her being raped. However, they showed how she was so afraid of the men. Only reason why she can be afraid of the men is if they were raping her or beating on her. They didn't show her bleeding. So the only other way that she was being hurt and abused could have been sexually. And these men was using this one woman sexually to continue to get energy, transudate, okay, meaning bringing all of those toxins out of the body in order for them to go out and be the warriors that they were. Instead of finding wives. Okay? Then we come about where the people start having all these diseases, catching stuff. Because you know, when you change your date, whatever bacteria is in your body is going to come out through the secretion. The more you transudate, the healthier you should be because the toxins are coming out. So we say that to say they were using her to be able to live. They sacrificed her. Now they have women, you know, different stories in the Bible. They talk about different women being whores and whatever the case may be. We still have to remember that man wrote that book. Right now, I could write a new Bible right now based on what we've seen within my lifetime. I could hold on to that book. Okay? Publish it. Don't put it for sale for another 100 years. Another 100 years, the way our people are going, most of y'all will be dead and can start a whole new thing. We can actually get rid of the old Bible if we wanted to and taught the newcomers new things. That's how easy it is to tamper with God's creations. Okay? I'm not saying I don't believe the whole Bible, but there's certain things in there that I realized that man did right, and man was able to put whatever he wanted to put in there for us to read and say, this is how we need to follow God. Now, y'all know I do a lot of meditation. And I do it more so with the wild. Some people do it with music. I'm the wild. I need to hear the ocean. I need to hear the birds. That's what brings me closer to God, because those are his creations. He created it and it wasn't tampered with. Getting back to the sex part of things. Now, reading the book of Genesis, I'm going to tell y'all, it blew my mind. I've been reading the book of Genesis for years. I used to go to Bible study. I used to go to church three times a week at night, and still on Sunday, and then when we get home until 8, 9 o'clock at night. Okay? That's how much I used to go to church. That's how much Bible reading I used to do. Okay? However, the pastors used to always jump all over the place. So I never really got the major understanding until I became an adult and said, you know what, I went to all these different churches. I tried all these different religions. They all do the same thing and they all confusing me. I want to know God. I'm sick of what y'all doing. I want to know God. So I decided to pick up the Bible, and I said, I'm going to start at the book of Genesis. And the book of Genesis has me floored. You hear me? The things that really went on in that book. It's like, wow, like, God, really? However, when you look at real life, meaning the life outside the wild, you get a little bit understanding of what God was trying to do. Okay? And as I go on and I ask God to give me the understanding of what he was trying to do, because I want to be able to appreciate him based on what he shows me, not what man tells me I should appreciate him for. Because God has already shown me miracles by them leading me that way. Now, I'm not going to say man is totally bad, because man led me to God, which is 100% a blessing. Because being led to God and knowing the path is all you really need. And then once you get to a certain point, you know, as they say, you know, there's levels to everything, there's levels to it. Once you get to a certain point, you get to see God for what it is. The real God. Okay? Not based on what man is interpreting to you. What God creations has interpreted to you. Now I had, and then I'm going to go back into the sex part of things. I'm going to talk about that. I had bought some plants, right? I did my balcony. I told you I was growing herbs and some fruit. Not some fruit. I mean some peppers, onions. My grapes didn't grow last year. So we're going to see what happens this year. And, you know, your plants are your babies, just like your animals are your babies. So I need to bring my babies inside. But I said, God, I need to see something. You need to show me something. Now, you once taught me that if I grow this stuff, you once showed me that even though the birds ate up my thyme, and when I fed them, they stopped eating my thyme, and my thyme grew 10 times bigger than what it was. Okay? You showed me that. Now I need to see if all my crops die. I mean, my plants die, which could have been crops on land. No, I need to know if it's cold, if they will die. That's what I needed to know. If it was cold, will they die? Well, I left them out there during the Arctic freeze. When the Arctic freeze was over, they were all browned, burnt up. And you notice I said Arctic freeze, but they were brown and burnt up. Okay? So I had to pay attention to that. They were all dead. Only thing that didn't die was the onions. It stayed just as green as if it was, the actual, the stem stayed green, just like it was just planted. That's the only thing that didn't change. But the rest of them, they was burnt up brown. So my heart was crushed. But I wasn't mad at God. Because I was saying to myself, wait a minute now. You told me that if I grow this stuff, okay, in the book of Genesis, he wanted them to take care of all of the flowers, and because that's the stuff was going to be their food. He told me if I grow this stuff, that I'll be okay. But you just showed me that I'm not okay, because if you decide to bring the cold or the way the earth is going now with all of the different fumes and everything, and the sun layer being undestroyed, things are not growing properly, things are not regenerating properly and faster. So I just said, I'm going to just leave them there. But it looks so bad. It just looks so dead. And I just said, okay, I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to, continue to walk past it every day, and I'm going to see what God is going to do. I needed to know. I said, God, I'm leaving this in your hands. I want to see what you're going to do with the dead plants that you killed with your Arctic cold. But you promised me that if I grew this stuff, I would be okay. So I thought about it. I said, now, if I would have took the stuff, instead of leaving it there, beautiful, pretty, and froze it or dried it up, I would still have it. It wouldn't have died. So who was in the wrong? It wasn't God, it was me. I just didn't know the process. Okay? And the reason why I'm telling y'all about this is because the process when it comes to endorphins, transjudating, and sex. Okay? I didn't know the process. So meanwhile, I'm figuring out this process as it's happening. God needed to show me the process. So now that spring has came, and it's not cold, because I don't like the cold, even though I'm from New York, I went out there and I looked at them. And I looked at my thyme. It was dead a few months ago. It's just as big as it was when it died. I said, okay, God, I see you. Then I went and looked at some of my other plants, my peppermint. I told you all about the peppermint the other day. Peppermint is growing in. My grapes are starting to get leaves. One thing I'm wondering is about my peppers. My peppers haven't gotten leaves yet. So I'm just waiting. Okay? God is teaching me the process. But I learned throughout that process that next time it grows, I need to be disciplined, go out there, get my stuff that he gave me, meaning the free thyme, the free rosemary, the peppermint, dry it up, and store it. I wouldn't have lost it. And it was free. And some of y'all follow me, and some of y'all may not. But I say that to say, God gave it to me for free. Less money I have to spend. And then he took it away because I didn't take care of it properly. And I know y'all saying, well, now what does this have to do with endorphins, transudate, and sex? The body regenerates itself just, and God gave us medicines to help us do that. And he made our bodies in ways to help us do that as well. And one of the biggest issues that people have today is stress. And the reason why I've been talking about this for the last 10 years, why I designed Private Friend LLC and now Private Friend Incorporated. Because stress is the number one killer. It will kill you slowly. We have to determine, do you love yourself enough? You know, we talk about self-worth so much. Okay? How much do you really love yourself? Is the question. How much do you really love you? Now, I'm going to use this for instance. Every day I work at lunchtime, right? I eat a noodle. Not every day, but majority of the days. I'm there 4 days a week sometimes. Well, I haven't been there 4 days a week lately, but when I was there 4 days a week, which is full time, I would eat a noodle those 4 days. Some days I wouldn't eat a noodle. I would eat something else. And people would, say bad things about me because I was eating a noodle every day. Now, mind you, I have a stomach issue, okay, where I can't digest too many meats. Chicken is one of them. And the other day, I had a binge. I asked God, I said, can I have some chicken? I asked him for my forgiveness because the only person that was going to suffer was me. So I ate the chicken and I binged out, y'all. And I got sick. I was sick for 4 days. Stomach was bloated, looking like I was pregnant. Stomach was hurting. But it did give me energy. The reason why I didn't have energy is because I wasn't working a lot. And you need protein and energy to work. So it was making me tired. You can't take people out of when their bodies are going a certain way, a certain amount of time. You cannot just stop it. You just can't. Okay? That's how I caught pneumonia back in Maryland, because I was pregnant and my supervisor took me out of work. I was going to work every day up at 4 a.m. with this big old belly, running around at the stores on the ladder, putting the chips up, and he just didn't want me out there. He said, your stomach is too big. I don't want you to fall and hurt yourself, which I probably wouldn't have, but he wanted to be cautious. Then I went from doing those things, that activity every single day, to just getting up in the morning, driving my son to school, going back home, laying in the bed, to get back up at 3 and drive to the school and come home, my body slowed down tremendously. And my body was not used to it. So I wasn't able to fight off any bacteria that came at me. And I was pregnant. That's why it's good for people to work out during pregnancy. They think that they're going to hurt the baby. If the baby's used to the motion, it's not going to hurt them. It's just motion, the walking, the running. It brings comfort to them once it's done repetitively. If they are used to getting the same motion from the time that they was conceived, it's not going to hurt the child. You don't have to be a pregnant, lazy person sitting around all the time. You can be active. So I was an active pregnant woman. And then it stopped. My body shut down. And that's what happens. That's like, y'all ever heard of a mate getting sick? Right? And then they have the other mate to take care of them. The other mate wound up dying faster. The one that wasn't sick wound up getting sick and dying faster than the one that was sick. I know y'all seen that many a times, and I'm going to tell y'all why. One, once the mate becomes sick, they can't have sex because they're ill. So they can't perform, they can't release or transudate. Their endorphins is not, one is sick, so they're not happy. They can't exercise, and then they're not having sex. Then the mate that they have is doing double work. Not only doing double work, is it doing the work that the mate that's sick couldn't do. Okay? Not only are they doing double work, they can't release their endorphins properly to help their brain and help their body because they're unhappy because they're doing double work. So that's what happens. And then most of the time, the mate that wasn't diagnosed first dies faster. And then the sick is left behind. Pretty much they killed them. And it's sad to say it, but they loved them and they was willing to sacrifice their life for their mates. Why was it designed that way? We don't know. But it also makes us think. So when you are sitting down, eating all the bad foods and not taking care of yourself, and you say, oh, well, I'm sick, honey, I'm going to need you to help me, man or woman, just think you could be killing them. So it's better to take care of yourself so y'all both can live long, productive lives than to kill the other mates. I'm going to use this for instance. My mate that I was with for 17 years, y'all all should know who he is. He started getting sick. He was working and wasn't taking care of himself. I tried to make him food, so he wouldn't be eating out. I would cook dinner, and I told him my objective goal was to keep us alive. That was my objective goal because, one, we had a baby real young. So we need to stay alive to watch this child become an adult because we don't want to put what we've done and created on other people. So we want to be at least be alive long enough for her to become an adult, meaning 18. So my goal was, and as the woman in his life, was to make sure he stayed healthy. But you can't make a person eat healthy. You just can't. I tried everything in my power to help this man not get sick so he wouldn't kill me. Okay? And that's just the bottom line. Well, he didn't like me anymore because I was trying to keep him alive. So he wouldn't kill me. Okay? And he didn't like that. So, I had to accept it. I need a man that's healthy. Because I don't plan on dying no time soon. I'm still fighting my allergy issues. And quiet as kept, that can kill me at any moment. I don't have time to be worried about high blood pressure and cholesterol and all that other stuff, cancers and all that other stuff they got out here. I ain't got time for it. Because I'm trying to figure out this allergy issue. And then you want to get sick too? Oh, no, nobody. It's my way or the highway. So he chose to lead so he can do what he want to do and eat what he want to eat. But you're still going to be on medication because you're sick. No matter where you go. You're going to wish you followed my lead. That's how it happens. Okay? If you don't take care of yourself, you can get ill, and then you can hurt your partner. Because your partner is going to have to pick up the slack. And do everything that you couldn't do. Or can't do. So it's something to think about. I met a lady the other day. God bless her soul. She, older lady. And she was out driving Lyft. And her husband was military, and he used to work, but he was sick. And he gets a check. But it's not enough. And she was working, but it wasn't enough because she was dependent on his paycheck that was bigger, plus his money that he was getting from the military. She was dependent on that. Then it went from no paycheck. He got disability from the military, a little bit of disability from his job. That went away. Now they don't have no money. So she had to sacrifice, and she worked 7 days, anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. What do we say about that in the beginning of this podcast? It's impossible for your body to function properly if you're not getting the proper rest and social life. This is why they created, what is it, Blacksburg? The game I be playing sometimes with Egypt and the kids. Blacksburg. I forget the name of it, but they had the family one, and then they have one where you could just go you work and buy a house and get your social time. And it actually shows the new generation, okay, how much time you need for eating, resting, social life, and in order for your body to function properly. It teaches them that because we plan to teach the new generations coming up, because the old ones are already tainted. They doing what they do. They believe they supposed to get sick. They believe that, medicine is the key and I'll live off of medicine for the rest of my life. They already tainted. The old ones. Okay? This is just what they believe. Because this is what they were taught. And they saw, okay, we just live to die. But what about living life in between? That's not what God intended for. God is good. You think God would just put us out here and say, well, just listen to those people and whatever happens, happens, and eventually you'll die and come be with me. We supposed to live happy here on earth. But we got to learn how to balance it out. That's the key. Balance. The same with, like people say, well, Jackie, you're supposed to be eating healthy all the time. If I eat healthy all the time, I'm going to overdo my body. Meaning I'm going to put too many vitamins in. I got to put some bad stuff in too. It has to be a balance. You eat, like the person said to me, you ain't supposed to be eating chips. Who told you that? Where do you get that I'm not supposed to be eating chips? Chips is vitamin K. I need chips. If I'm not having a baked potato or a mashed potato or some French fries. Last I checked, I need the vitamin. So who told you I can't have chips? Then they want to say, oh, well, it's fried in oil. Well, it depends on what type of oil, how long it was fried, all plays a part. People don't know. Fried kettle chips, no oil, is actually the best. Okay? Meaning air fried. However, you got kettle chips, kettle fried, very healthy chips. Because it's the way the kettle heats up so the oil won't seep too much inside of the potato. A lot of people don't know that. But that's why kettle chips became a big thing. Because it's a little bit healthier than the regular chips. It's not totally healthy, but it's a little bit better than the healthy chips. Than the other chips. Now, you go places, now you see kettle everywhere. That's why. So, people come up with their theories of, oh, you can't have this and you can't have that because you are vegan or because you are pescatarian. Or look, I eat cake just like you. I eat potato chips just like you. I don't drink much soda, but every now and again I will pick up a soda and have one. And I ain't supposed to be eating chicken. Why? Because it makes me sick. I haven't eaten beef and pork since I was 17. I haven't picked that back up. Reason being because it makes me definitely ill. But the chicken takes me through a process of illness that I can overcome. It doesn't make me happy. Okay? It makes me sad at the end. It makes me happy while I'm eating it. And this is why people eat so much, because it makes them happy. That's the way they find their happiness. So the endorphins will be released. But meanwhile, they're still killing themselves with the stuff that they're putting in their body. So you have to balance it. You don't want to make yourself happy with foods that's going to kill you long term. Got to make it make sense, people. I'm going to talk about Red Bulls real quick. I had a guy the other day. I pulled out my Red Bull. and start drinking. And y'all know I don't eat meat, so I need the protein. I need the B12, B6. Why do I need B12, B6 complex? Because, one, I retain water. B12, B6 complex helps you release the water. A lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that until someone told me. But if you don't inquire about certain things, you won't know. So then he looked on there and he was like, for instance, what is niacin? I said, a vitamin. And he looked at me. So, we Googled it. And I said, see? And he was like, oh, yeah, you sound crazy when you say you don't want to drink an energy drink. That's the best thing that the world, because it's not only in America, it's all around the world, that they could have came up with for people that don't eat properly so they can get all the vitamins that they need daily. Because if you don't eat properly, how are you going to get your vitamins? Sometimes we cook our vitamins like when they make collard greens. I love my black people because they're part of me. But they take all of the vitamins out of the greens. Why? Because they boil them. And they boil them down. So you have stripped all the vitamins out and now you're just eating the greens. What benefits did you really get? You got to make it make sense, people. You don't boil vegetables. You steam them. And then you don't cook them fully because you're going to lose the benefits. And quiet as kept, some of that stuff I don't believe should even be cooked, because when it's cooked for me, it's just for me. I can't digest it. I get sick. But if I eat it raw, I'm fine. So it makes a difference. Now, a lot of these vitamins that we get man-made, meaning like in Red Bulls and stuff, and it's man-made, keeps our bodies going. But we could also get a lot of these vitamins from the foods that God put on earth. One, we got to learn how to cook them. If we're going to cook them. That's number one key. And cook them properly. Not just so it can taste good, so you can get the benefits of it. And two, what to eat and what vitamins are in the foods that your body needs. Because your body will actually crave certain foods that it needs. Because your body knows that they go back to the brain again. That brain knows it has told the body once you ate, like, okay, I'm going to use banana peppers, for instance. I love banana peppers. They taste so good. And they give me high oxidants. Antioxidants, I'm sorry. So, my body might say to me, or my brain, they say, okay, you need some antioxidants. I'll start craving some of the foods with antioxidants in it. One of them is peppers. And I'll eat them, and I'll be happy. And my brain will be happy too. Like, yes, she did it. Okay, we're going to build up these cells just in case she gets, sick. Even though our bodies are not machines, but everything works together. And if our brain is not telling our bodies what to do, it's not going to do it. So that's why we have to take care of the brain. Just as well as our bodies. I'm going to tell y'all one more thing, and then I'm going to go back into the sex part of it. Okay. Now, as y'all know, I'm getting older, and I'm going through premenopause. I haven't had a hot flash yet. Quite as kept, I'm always got a hoodie on. Especially when I'm at work, because I be freezing. And they're like, well, Jackie older. Why she always got on a hoodie? Because I be cold. Ain't you older? Ain't you going through premenopausal? Don't you be having hot flashes? No. Well, ain't no way you could be going through premenopausal. I am. The doctor confirmed it, and I've seen it. I'm going. However, one of my friends told me, oh, you're going to have to get on birth control pills. Really? Okay. To keep your hormones. No, I didn't have to get on birth control pills. Reason being is because I did the research to see what I can put in my diet to keep my hormones doing the proper thing. And I run into some ladies at work, and the ones that don't have husbands or boyfriends, and they're like, ugh, boyfriends, ugh, sex, ugh. That's why you're having hot flashes. That's why you're having hot flashes. Because you don't want to eat right. You don't want to take certain things out your diet. And you're not having sex. So your body's not secreting none of the bacteria that it's supposed to. And then you're not exercising. They say once you go through premenopause, you're close to death. Not true. As long as you keep doing those things, it just means you can no longer bear children. But the body continues to work. The hormones continue to work. It doesn't stop. No, you just stop. You made a decision. I don't like men no more. I don't want him touching me. Of course, you're not on it. You haven't eaten right. You're not taking care of yourself. Don't you know? And I think I told you this before. In your life, marry him. Take care of him. Y'all take care of each other. In the moment that you say, I no longer want to have sex with you, it's an automatic divorce when it gets to the judge. Because you need sex to live. And that's just the facts. That's the way God designed it. The body must secrete what it needs to secrete. You ever seen a cat when it's horny and it's hollering out because of being in pain, because the blood vessels have swelled up, and in other words, have inflammation? And once it's released, the cat is fine walking on about his business. Well, that's what happens in humans as well. If it's not released on a regular basis, the way it needs to be, it's going to start to secrete on its own and eventually hurt you. So why would you take something away from you that can actually hurt you and kill you? God didn't put these things here to hurt us. God is good. And not only does humans have to translate, animals do too. Transudate, I'm sorry. Animals do too. So why would you take that away from yourself? Because once you took that away from yourself, you're taking away life. Your life expectancy is being taken away. You want to live. At least we think you do. But now with humans has taken that too far. Which y'all can see in Chosen. And y'all can see other places as well in different books where people were raped, or you got men having sex with men, women having sex with women. You know, diseases being passed around. This is why it's supposed to be one man, one woman, and that's it. That's it. Because you need each other in order to live. That's the way God designed it. And we cannot change that. Man cannot change that. But what man can change is the thought process in the way people think about sex. And their self-worth. Because you're having sex to live, but you could be killing yourselves with diseases. You got to make it make sense here. You got to have balance. That's why you want someone that doesn't have a disease. That's why you want to stay with one person, not with multiple people. Now, we've been talking to y'all about it spiritually, but scientifically as well. You don't want multiple people because it can still lead you to death. You got to make it make sense. But you still need it. It has to happen within the body. And the moment that is given up, you start closing out your life. You pretty much is just waiting to die. You'll notice during the time that you do give it up, you might get sick because you're not releasing what you need to release in the body. The same with if you don't poop. You get sick. It infects the blood. That's the scientific side of it. And I don't put God and science together. But in order to stop you people from killing yourselves, y'all need to know the truth. Half of y'all wouldn't even be sick if y'all had husbands that was doing things the proper way. Because that's another thing we got to work on, the way men are treating their women. And if you notice, it's one thing. If a woman is happy, okay, this goes back to the endorphins. If a woman is happy, she's going to have no problem giving you what you need to continue to live. So when you pick your wife, make sure you pick your wife and your husband as an investment to living. Not just because you want to build. Because, yeah, you still want to build and make sure both of y'all have the appropriate income and different things like that to survive. However, you still want to invest in life. And that's part of investing in life. I chose this one. This one might be younger, might be older, but this is the one I chose. It brings in money. It's happy. We have fun together. My brain is able to work properly. It ain't shutting down. I'm not sexually frustrated. My body is not frustrated. My organs ain't breaking down. It's the one I'm choosing. And hopefully it will stay that way. That's what you pray about. You pray for. Mine's ran a 17-year course. My last one. 17 years. "14 years of, with some sadness in it, but the happy times overcame the sad times because it wouldn't last that long. It was the last 3 years that took the cake. But we invested in life, living. That's why people say, oh, y'all look so young. Yeah. We laugh, we dance, we go out, we have plenty of sex. We should. Thanks for the... Y'all should try it. These are just the facts, people. You pick your mates and live. Be great if you're married. Because that's how God likes it. But the scientific side of it is if you don't have it, you're shortening your life. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon.